Part 33. Exploring the World, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 321. Both people and ghosts are being beaten, only Brother Ye is showing off. Bad smile JPG. The underworld is full, non-combatants please evacuate as soon as possible. Yashi actually said that, but when he saw the underworld staff in the live broadcast room, they were so afraid to avoid them. Suddenly I really want to go to Fendu. Maybe I can play mahjong with Lord Yama and the others, that would be the best. So Yashi, who was walking towards the other side, turned around and walked towards Fendu. As for that big-headed doll, he is really powerful if he is powerful, but he is also really stupid if he is stupid. He didn't even think of other ways, such as taking out the stone pillars, but just closed his mouth like this. The result was naturally a mouthful of colorless blood. In this regard, Yashi could only wish the other party good luck. Okay, let's go to Fendu next and have a look. This kind of place is famous in all the worlds. I've already been here, how could I not go in and take a look? Everyone who celebrates the Chinese New Year is here. Our brother Ye really has the soul of the Dragon Kingdom. It made me laugh, didn't I pay attention to black and white impermanence, now their avatars seem to be darkened. I'm afraid they are planning to pick up the package and run away. A certain Lord of Hell, heroes see the same thing. Tomcat, bad smile JPG. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking one of the wonders of the world, Fendu, the underworld. Fendu, this is the only city in the underworld. Legend has it that it was built by gathering the power of heaven, the world of life, and the underworld. Many famous bosses in the three worlds once lived here. However, after a cosmic war, in the accident, Fendu gradually turned into an empty city, and even little ghosts could freely enter Fendu. Ding, congratulations to the host for getting the reward, Fendu Land Deed X1. The Land Deed of Fendu, a large and excellent courtyard with 3 entrances and 3 exits, covering an area of more than 60 acres. It perfectly meets people's imagination of the underworld. Once the land deed is owned, unless it is transferred or stripped voluntarily, the land deed in Fendu will follow you life and death. This. As soon as Ye stepped in, he heard the system's reminder. This time, his eyes couldn't help but be startled. Good guy, this also rewards me with a ghost house. Now I have a house to live in the 3 realms of heaven, earth, human beings, and outside the 3 realms, right? Ding, the house of hell is in the human world. This is the house of Hades, in the underworld. Yes, she really thanked the system for the reminder. Fendu city is very big, but it looks very desolate and silent. Only a few imps occasionally float by, and there is nothing else. Looks a bit run down. It's been a long time since there was a ghost living there, right? At first I thought I heard it wrong, Brother Ye said it wrong, but after thinking about it carefully, it turned out to be my problem. Why do ghosts still need a house to live in? Can't it just float anywhere? You worked for the house while you were alive, and you still have to work for the house after you die, right? What about that ice cream? Didn't it say that it was brought to the underworld? I also wanted to interview Brother Ye when he encountered it. Fanwuju, I was reincarnated. I was lucky I came by chance. I didn't even have to wait in line. I was reincarnated directly. I'm hundreds of years ahead of you. Just when all kinds of gags were going on in the live broadcast room, a young boy's voice rang out. Tisk, is this Fendu, the underworld? Why are there still yellow talismans? This kind of yellow talisman, if I remember correctly, seems to be used to seal ghosts. Yashi picked up the yellow talisman that floated from nowhere, then held it in his hand and looked at it. Zhang Daoling, this is my Taoist talisman, why does it appear here? Yunran is me, isn't it strange, buddy, the heavenly master will die too. Why is there still paper money? Yashi stretched out his hand and grabbed something floating in the sky. However, as soon as the paper money reached Yeshi's hand, it quickly spontaneously ignited and then turned into ashes. Yeshi raised his head and observed the direction where these things came from. I found that they were all coming from one direction. After thinking about it, he was no longer in a hurry to play mahjong with the Lord of Hell. He still wanted to know how these things appeared in the underworld. If I hadn't come here in person, I might have thought this was a dark city in the world, not some Fendu. There are yellow charms, paper money, and even a coffin. Who do these ghosts want to bury? Why, I've already died once, can I die again? Coffin, in fact, it can be resurrected after lying in my body for a long time. As Yeshi moved towards the direction where the paper money floated, some tiny flower buds began to grow on the ground. Going further, there are clusters of Bianhua flowers in full bloom. The flower bloomed without leaves? I originally thought it was a legend, but when the real flower appeared in front of everyone, only then did they realize that it was because when the flowers on the other side bloomed, all the leaves withered and they couldn't even see them. Just when an inexplicable, special, and sensational atmosphere appeared in the live broadcast room. Yeshi ruined the atmosphere by opening his mouth. Who planted this flower of the other side? I can't stand it anymore. Even if the flowers don't look good, there is also a very special smell of soul decay. Who wants it? Then use Bianhua flowers to keep it fresh, right? Yeshi frowned and looked at the Bianhua flowers on the ground with a look of disgust on his face. The expressions of netizens watching the live broadcast in front of their computers were like this. You are good at destroying the atmosphere. Legend has it that there are many touching love stories about the red spider lily. Why do you say that? Brother, yeah, where are your artistic cells? Was it swallowed by that big-headed doll? Yeshi looked at the camera with an unspeakable expression. You think too much. What kind of story can there be? It's just a hell flower that grows from the soul. And the smell is really too much like the stench of a corpse. No, it's even more rotten than the smell of a corpse. Yeshi covered his nose. I think there must be an old corpse that has been there for hundreds of thousands of years, so the smell of the red spider lily is needed to cover up the smell of the corpse. Who is this person, coming to the underworld to perform a funeral? It's really like sending a Buddha to the West, and sending a dead person to the underworld. He started to complain mercilessly. The audience who wanted to refute it at first didn't want to refute it at all after seeing the picture in the distance. Because the facts proved that what Yeshi said was really right. It was the kind of corpse that had been lying around in recent years. The corpse was pressed into a coffin, and a man in a Taoist robe stood beside him, constantly throwing yellow talismans and paper money into the sky. Is he a human? Where is Zhang Tianqi? Come and see if this Taoist is your descendant. When he entered the underworld, the system had already reminded Yeshi that during these long years, although the underworld was almost completely isolated from the living world, there were still a few living people who came to the underworld. The nameless person who had appeared in the live broadcast room was one, and the middle-aged Taoist in front of him was also one. I was wondering, how could a ghost throw paper money? He really is a human. How long has this Taoist been in the underworld? How come his body has become a ghost? Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 322. Hey, what a coincidence, isn't it? Seeing ghosts in the living world and bumping into living people in the underworld is called, hey, live broadcast. This wave is the king of explosions. So, which group in the world should not be messed with the most? Live broadcast. Live broadcast in the underworld. Zhang Daoling, I thought you would be a Taoist priest. There are actually coffins, dead people, and Taoist priests. I was still arguing during the live broadcast before. Logically speaking, your logic is correct, but reality is not logical. Yeshi looked at the Taoist priest throwing paper money in front of him and raised his eyebrows. The opponent's strength is very extraordinary. After all, he is a Taoist priest who can enter the underworld in the lost years of heaven and underworld. But a person of this strength. Yeshi squinted his eyes for a while and saw that the other party's soul was already very light. If there was any change, it would float out of the body. The flower of the other side nourished by the soul can just suppress the shelling of his soul. The smell of rotting corpses became stronger and stronger. And Yeshi's eyes were even weirder, even with a strange light. Because the stench of the corpse does not come from the inside of the coffin. So this Taoist priest is sending off the dead man in the coffin. Why did he bring the body to the underworld on purpose? What did he want? I don't understand it at all. I don't understand what the operation is in front of me. Why are you drawing yellow talismans and scattering paper money again, sending money while preventing corpse transformation? A very filial Taoist priest. Jin Mao Bei, this Taoist priest is very powerful. Kicked the doorframe. No wonder Brother Ye said he smelled the smell of rotting corpses before, and I also said how could there be rotting corpses in the underworld? What is the relationship between this Taoist priest and the corpse in the coffin? Is he a master or a disciple? Maybe the Taoist priest wants to resurrect this corpse. Aaleguo. Why do you need to be resurrected? Reincarnation only takes 18 years, but resurrection takes hundreds of thousands of years. The audience in the live broadcast room stared wide-eyed, looking at the underworld that was very human, and fell into the scene of suspicion of ghosts. Yeshi didn't pay attention to the conversation in the live broadcast room. He just sighed and covered his head helplessly. What a hell! What does this Taoist priest want to do? Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing 33% of the exploration of Fengdu and receiving rewards, Pleiades Bell X1, Manzushawa Seed X100, Ultimate Gloomy Wooden Coffin X1, Pleiades Star-Lord's Message X1, Golden Needle X1. The other side flower area, this is a circle of other side flowers that someone deliberately planted. Under each of the other side flowers are souls that cannot be reincarnated. The purpose of planting the other side flowers is not only to cover up the aura of the Pleiades star officials, but also to suppress the Taoist priests. The stench of the corpse and the soul that is about to escape from the body. Pleiades star official, one of the 28 constellations, living in the palace of light in the sky. His true form is a 6 or 7 foot tall rooster. When he crows in the morning, the rooster's true form is covered up and turned into a corpse in a coffin. Mr. Sabaru's message, Mother, save me. Although Yeshi had felt the strong smell of corpses on the middle-aged Taoist priest before, as well as the soul that was about to float out. But I didn't expect that there would be such a big bang like news. These 4 words instantly appeared in his mind: crime scene. Brother Yes, unique skill rightward arrow only speak half the words. Although this is indeed Brother Yes' unique skill, it shouldn't be the case this time in front of me. Look at his expression, he is shocked. What happened? Wasn't everything exactly as Lao Ye expected? Why was he shocked? Even if it was a shock, shouldn't it be me who was shocked? You are right, so if you eliminate all the options, the remaining one will be the only correct answer no matter how impossible it is. What, Sherlock Holmes, then, what is the only correct answer? Yeshi opened his mouth to say something, but stopped at the last moment of making a sound. Then he looked at the middle-aged Taoist priest who was spreading paper money, and observed him carefully and seriously from head to toe. He weighed the fighting prowess of each other and found that he could beat him with about 1/10 of the strength. Yeshi quickly checked his more than 5,000 hole cards and found that one was useless. The sense of security has increased by 100 points. So Yeshi told the whole story directly in front of the middle-aged Taoist priest who was about to die. Your feelings are wrong. Although judging from the eyes, there is indeed an old corpse in front of me. But we must see through the phenomenon to see the essence. That's not a corpse inside the coffin, that's a big rooster. Quack quack. Come, quiet, peaceful. Forget it, I don't want to rescue anymore. Brother Bai, come and pick me up. Yeshi's brows knitted together, and then quickly relaxed. The smell of corpses I felt before came from the middle-aged Taoist priest in front of me who was throwing paper money. He had a very strong rotten smell. Not only that, these other shore flowers were also planted by middle-aged Taoist priests. In addition to covering up the aura of Lord Pleiades, they also suppressed the soul that was about to break away from the body of the middle-aged Taoist priests. Yeshi thought about whether there were any mistakes or omissions in his words. After finding out there was no problem, he nodded. That's basically it. I'm dead. I don't know much about the love, hate and enmity between them. But that's what's ahead of us. Well, the Taoist priest scattered the yellow talisman to suppress himself, the paper money was burned to himself, the corpse odor came from his body, and the Bayangan flower was also used to suppress his soul. Then the body in the coffin is the Pleiades star official, a big rooster. As of now, he is still alive. How much time has passed, I don't know yet. In order to take care of the IQ of some people in the live broadcast room, Yeshi summarized it himself. Thank you, summarizer. 3 consecutive episodes of vomiting blood. The middle-aged Taoist priest had long noticed Yeshi's arrival. Perhaps, Yeshi was not the first living person to come to him, so the Taoist priest didn't really care. However, when Yeshi told everything, this middle-aged Taoist priest was stunned when he threw paper money and yellow charms. It's a pity that this should be some kind of special ceremony, so he can't stop to trouble Yeshi now. Just let Yeshi tell everything in front of the camera. As he said one sentence after another, the middle-aged Taoist priest's face turned blue. The soul that was already unable to be suppressed became more and more light, almost flying out of the body. Shut up. Finally. The middle-aged Taoist priest couldn't help shouting. At the same time, the arm he was using to spread the paper money trembled, and the corpse inside the coffin seemed to be shaking, as if it was struggling to be resurrected. I went there and saw this reaction. What Brother Ye said was absolutely correct. Pleiades star officer, aren't these the stars in heaven? This Taoist priest is so awesome. Brother Ye just exposed the opponent like this. This Taoist priest won't come to kill him later, right? Very good, thank you for your crow's mouth, I've already killed you. Because what Yeshi said was so accurate, he directly told everything that the middle-aged Taoist priest had done. So he sped up his movements of throwing paper money and yellow charms. After it was finally over, he rushed towards Yeshi. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 323. Fengdu is originally the city of the underworld. Although there are various jokes on the barrage saying that the underworld is not like the underworld but more like the human world. But this is really a joke. Fengdu is a suspended city. Looking up, it is a void that can swallow everything. Looking down, it is still the kind of void that wants to swallow up all the images that represent life in the world. Looking at the vastness, you can see the void flowing like water in a trance. Although the dark night on earth is terrible. But the thing more terrifying than the eternal night is emptiness, nothing. When I was in Fengdu city and looked around, I felt like I was the only one left in the vast world. This Fengdu sky is terrifying and dark, capable of swallowing up all images that represent existence. Paper money is still flying in Fengdu city, blown by the wind, and falls in the empty streets. In the sky full of flowers from the other side. A ghost-painted yellow talisman was hit forward by a soft blow. After the middle-aged Taoist priest finished the sacrifice in his hands, the coffin containing the corpse fell with a bang among the flowers on the other side. When he took action, The yellow talisman with unknown lines quickly grew in size and was about to fit into Yeshi's body. The huge yellow talisman carries pure power. This power has been integrated with the breath of the underworld. The sticky black ink seeped out from the edge of the yellow talisman paper. These black inks and yellow symbols together completely enveloped Yeshi. Ah! A big fluttering moth on the Xiongdi planet couldn't control its panic and screamed. Coincidentally, the same was true for the other 9 worlds. This Taoist priest is indeed very powerful. Because when he used a special yellow talisman to immobilize Yeshi, he stepped on the flowers on the other side, pulled out the peachwood sword from the bottom of the coffin, and then walked towards Yeshi. The color of water and light. The ghosts outside Fengdu City noticed the changes in Fengdu City. The big-headed doll competing with the stone pillar couldn't help but open its mouth wider, then stood on tiptoes and looked into Fengdu City with its big eyes. With just such an action, the stone pillar that could not be taken out suddenly fell to the ground, making the evil spirits on the side laugh, and then the big-headed doll swallowed it in one gulp. Hungry. The big-headed doll burped. And following the sky, Yeshi had already grasped the aqua-blue divine sword. Originally, Yeshi wanted to draw the thunder down, but found that there was no way to draw out things from the world. This is not a big problem, because the sword in his hand already possesses the power of the sea. When he cast this sword, Yeshi understood that this sword had the power to command the ocean and could draw out boundless sea water. Yeshi had used this technique once when he was in the sun prison, but it was an incomplete body. And now, he plans to draw out all the power of this divine sword. The tip of the sword trembled slightly, pointing upwards. And as Yeshi held the sword, he used a move in the Xuanhuan Sword Sutra, which was a very common upward tilt in swordsmanship. I only saw a divine dance of sword light, with a blue color passing along the sword body. The light can shoot people, the god can control chaos, and the god's feet are stern and formidable. The color of blue gold frost bursts into bloom. Boom! Infinite water gushes out from the sword's body, and a great flood or tsunami appears in the underworld where it would never occur. Bai Vuchain, who was quietly carrying the package and preparing to run away, looked up at the strange changes in the distance. The whole thing seemed to be stuck in half, and the package suddenly fell to the ground. It jumped up on the spot angrily, and then shouted in a low voice that only it could hear. What's the point of this? Is this killing a Taoist priest? This is demolishing a home. Yeshi didn't think there was anything wrong with being so cautious. It should be noted that even a lion should try his best to fight a rabbit. It was not his idea to capsize in the gutter. The empty sky and the empty earth were submerged by the ocean rushing towards them in an instant, and Fengdu City became a city in the sea. The underworld and the ocean are distinct. Yeshi holds the Kingian sword in his hand, which can easily mobilize all the ocean water in front of him. Although the entire Feng had been flooded, it had not yet reached Yeshi's tactical goal. So the immeasurable sea water has been rolled together, carrying the true meaning in the sword, and rushing towards the middle-aged Taoist priest in front with unstoppable force. The smell of flowers and rotting corpses on the other side is particularly strong in the water. The outside of the middle-aged Taoist priest's body even began to have some blue-black energy. The exposed flesh was rotting uncontrollably, and half of the soul that had been suppressed was also separated. The yellow talisman clicked, was chopped into pieces by the sword, and fell to the ground. The middle-aged Taoist priest did not expect that the current young man would use such outrageous moves. At this moment, he also shouted, "Why is this? By the way, if there is anything that can be discussed, we can discuss it." As a Taoist priest, what he hates most is taking action. Taoism emphasizes tranquility and inaction, and there is nothing that cannot be discussed with Taoism. Pity. Things were developing faster than he imagined. Faced with this kind of person who throws big moves at the slightest disagreement, the middle-aged Taoist priest also showed his desperate attitude. He reached out to pick up the coffin on the ground, then rubbed oil on the solace of his feet, and thought about running away. The ancients said that among the 36 strategies, walking is the best strategy. Guo Fengxiao, we agreed to level A, but you ended up enlarging your move. I won't play with you guys anymore, I'll run away right now. Smirk JPG, you have to be able to run away. The audience couldn't help laughing as they watched all this happen. Tomcat, so it's true what you said about the little sea god destroying everything he went to, the ancients were not deceiving me. I'm so happy, really, you know, as long as the disaster doesn't happen to me, I can be mercilessly happy. Living king of hell, do you have a heart, are you still happy? White impermanence, I'll wait until the day your house is demolished, see if you'll still be so happy. The sword in Yeshi's hand drew a mysterious arc of light. The magic sword was spiritual, and naturally knew who its opponent was, so thousands of sword lights scattered and turned into waves higher than one another. These waves were called sea water, but they were sea water, and they were called sword lights, and they were indeed sword lights. So under the boundless ocean, Yeshi's sword had already crossed the soul of the middle-aged Taoist priest. At the same time, there was a pale corpse standing next to it. It looked like it had been dead for a long time, and the stench even came through the underworld to the human world. The big-headed doll, whose mouth could be closed, was originally very excited, and a vicious light flashed in its eyes. It planned to teach that damn thing a lesson and eat it in several times. Just when the big-headed doll entered its own imagination and the roar of the ocean came. Yeshi's sword light also came. The big-headed doll's vicious smile froze on his face, and then he raised his short legs, turned around and ran desperately behind him. Puh, puh, puh. Sea water poured into its mouth, and it ran ahead, and the other ghosts followed it. This is a scene that has never happened since the establishment of the underworld. Damn, I laughed to death. Tais Hanglajun, ghosts are not as good as they used to be, and the underworld is in decline. I am God, this scene is quite mythical, and I seem to see how the future generations describe what happened this time. No stop for 1,000 miles, the underworld suffered violent demolition. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know, we will deal with it as soon as possible, thank you for your understanding. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 324. Living Hell King, yes, just like everyone thought, I don't know what happened, I just found that my house became a sea view room when I was going to work. If you say this, you should thank brother Ye. Didn't the house prices in the underworld rise all of a sudden? You can get a sea view room in one step, which is something that many people can't even dream of. Fanwuju, okay, come here, I'll switch places with you, and I'll give you my sea view room for free. Thank you brother Wuju, but we don't plan to die just yet, you can come and have fun with me next time you come to Blue Star, I will also give you a suite. Yeshi held the Kingian sword in his hand, and a soul about the size of a ginseng fruit in movies and TV series was under the sword. As long as the sword moves downward by just an inch, the middle-aged Taoist priest will be completely stunned. However, Yeshi couldn't help but frown when he looked at this middle-aged Taoist priest whose soul even smelled of rot. In terms of strength, he definitely has the strength of an immortal, but now, not only is his body rotten, but his soul is also rotten. Ahem. The middle-aged Taoist priest made an uncontrollable coughing sound, and his soul coughed up blood. He didn't look like the Taoist priest who was alive just now, but more like a sick ghost. After it finished coughing, it looked at Ye and asked with a puzzled expression. Who are you and why are you in the underworld? Yeshi let go of his hand, but the Kingian sword remained motionless, with the ghostly shadow still hanging above its head. I should ask you this. Sunshine boy, I just made some Sadeko to drink, and while drinking, I watched these two strong men dancing on the Xuanhuan road. Sadeko. Middle-aged Taoist priest, I was forced to come to the underworld just to cure my illness. I didn't expect that after staying in the underworld for a long time, I became more seriously ill. Although the middle-aged Taoist priest could tell that Yeshi in front of him was very young and looked easy to deceive. But it didn't really lie to death. After all, the cold sword was still hanging on its head. Yeshi crossed his arms and looked up and down at this middle-aged Taoist priest whose whole body was smelly and whose entire soul was decaying at a speed that could be observed with the naked eye. So, did you bring Lord Pleiades to the underworld for medical treatment? How did you do that? The middle-aged Taoist priest coughed. After coughing twice, he not only coughed up blood but also coughed up sludge. This rotten smell is almost overflowing. Daking's physical body has still locked up most of the rotten smell. Now that the soul has come out, the unbearable smell has become more and more arrogant. Yeshi couldn't help but take a step back, with extreme expression in his eyes. Dislike. The middle-aged Taoist priest looked at Yeshi's movements and continued without changing his expression. Heaven has disappeared. I found the injured Pleiades star official among the ruins of heaven. At that time, it had already shown its prototype, which was the shape of a big rooster, so I took it away. As for bringing me to the underworld, it's because the Pleiades chicken can suppress tuberculosis in me. Ahem. After it said these words, its soul coughed up black blood. Don't you know everything? You even know that the paper money I burn is for myself. The yellow talisman I scattered in the sky is also to suppress the tuberculosis in my body. You know all this, why do you need to ask me? The middle-aged Taoist priest looked very weak, as if opening his mouth to speak could drain away some of his vitality. Yeshi thought for a moment and did not answer the other party's question. Instead, he gestured to the Kingian sword. Under the threat of the Kingian sword, Yeshi stuffed the other party's soul into his body again, and the rotten stench rising into the sky was much better. Feeling that the environment was slightly more bearable, Yeshi just spoke slowly and said, I don't know, I just learned the big rooster's life-saving message, and by the way, I saw the changes in your body. So everything I said is true. Just because everything I said is true, you became obsessed with it, became so angry, and so angry that you wanted to attack me. It turned out that you couldn't beat me, and then you died, right? Yeah, Bao, if you can speak more directly, no one will beat you to death. Yeshen, do you understand that this is the art of speaking, and you are teaching me how to do things? Hey, haven't you noticed that the ghost behind and the big-headed doll have disappeared? Then Fengdu is still flooded, right? I thank you and your whole family. After the middle-aged Taoist priest's soul was forcibly stuffed into his body, he heard Yeshi's straightforward words. He was momentarily stunned and didn't know whether to say yes or no. Finally, he said silently. Although what you say is ugly, what you say is indeed the truth. What I do cannot be known by others, whether it is known by people in heaven or by ghosts in hell. I feel the breath of heaven in you. Has heaven been restored? Yeshi shook his head. So what are you going to do now? Kill me directly. The middle-aged Taoist priest's bluish-white complexion became increasingly ugly, and no one noticed the closed coffin underneath. Only one Pleiades star official who desperately wanted to make a crowing sound was still making continuous efforts, although its efforts were ineffective. Yeshi continued to shake his head. I'm just an ordinary explorer. Because there was a gate to hell on my home planet, so I came in out of curiosity to explore it. I walked to Xuanhuan and Hades without knowing it, and then I saw Fengdu. Since I'm here, Fengdu is right in front of me, how could I not go in and take a look? As soon as I came in, I saw paper money and yellow talismans all over the sky. I thought I came to the human world, but I didn't expect it was you who scattered them. I came here to take a look out of curiosity, and I saw a Taoist priest and a big rooster. No, I saw the Pleiades and you. Yeshi came in to chat with the king of hell, but who knew he would encounter such a thing? When he told all the stories, whether dead or alive, they all fell into an inexplicable state of silence. At this moment, I have something to say, but I don't know whether to say it or not. Why is it so ups and downs? Why does it sound so ordinary when it comes out of Brother Yes' mouth? I feel that what Brother Yes said is all true, but it just gives me a very weird feeling, you know, that kind of weird feeling. Middle-aged Taoist priest. Yeshi stretched out his hand, and the King Ian's sword returned to his side from the other party's soul. The sea water was still slowly receding, retreating into the underworld. How are you going to deal with me? The middle-aged Taoist priest didn't know how to answer Yeshi's words, so he asked. Yeshi touched the hilt of the King Ian's sword, and the King Ian's sword made a joyful sound and moved the sword closer. Why should I deal with you? Good people live a peaceful life. Aren't you dying? What big villain said? Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yu Pian Hai. Chapter 325. Let me tell you something, the truth is sometimes so ugly, so in ancient times those emperors liked to hear slander after all, who doesn't want to hear good things? Yeshi had no intention of making the middle-aged Taoist priest in front of him lose his soul. After all, it was a bit laborious and not interesting. So the King Ian's sword fell on Yeshi's side. Although the sword had been put away, the fact that endless sea water poured in and the entire underworld turned into an underwater world did not change. Those ghosts have obviously never experienced this kind of battle, so they are now desperately trying to avoid the sea water. However, the King Ian's sword almost dumped all the sources of the sea into the underworld, so, basically there is no place to hide. Fortunately, the underworld sank and remained intact. Otherwise, if the underworld water was carried up by the sea, these ghosts who came to reincarnate would simply not live anymore. Yeshi walked leisurely in the submerged Fengdu, stretched out his hand to open the closed coffin lid on the ground. Inside is an old corpse that looks dead for a long time. This is not an illusion, but the body of the Pleiades star official. Its true body is trapped in the body of a body that has been dead for an unknown number of years. Yeshi raised his hand and struck the corpse's head 3 times with his fingers. With every blow, the sound was extremely clear, as if the corpse was hollow. After 3 strokes, a big rooster with bright feathers but a depressed expression appeared in everyone's sight. Big cock. Please call it the Pleiades star official, thank you. What a miserable chicken. The middle-aged Taoist priest no longer cared about what Yeshi was doing. He was now shaking his hands quickly, drawing special runes on the yellow talismans, and then attached these yellow talismans one by one to his body. In the blink of an eye, the middle-aged Taoist priest's body was covered with all kinds of ghostly talismans, turning him into a talisman. Yeshi's eyes reached out and seemed to pull out the Pleiades star official who had been locked inside for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years through the corpse. When I was still young. Yeshi's favorite thing about chasing chickens in the countryside is to catch them. The feeling at this time cannot be said to be unrelated, it is exactly the same. Who is it? There is no dignity for the Pleiades chicken. Has anyone seen such a big yellow character in the back? To be honest, it looks too much like a zombie if the clothes were changed into those of the Qing dynasty. Supreme Qing dynasty, dear brothers, I have a puzzling question that I want to get your answer to, that is, why are all the zombies from the Qing dynasty? Golden mouse, maybe because, if the time is too long, the zombies will be eliminated. The great screening of the universe, right, I feel like I've seen a similar video about why there are no aliens, and it feels particularly appropriate to use it on zombies. Yeshi lifted Pleiades star officer up. He frowned and looked at the big cock in his hand, wondering what to do with him. Facing this troublesome animal, he felt it didn't fit in his own world anyway, so Yeshi threw the Pleiades chicken directly onto the middle-aged Taoist priest. The big rooster flapped its wings and crowed feebly. Oh. Okay, It's done. Let's continue to visit Fengdu. Actually, when I was very young, I was very curious about the place where Lord Yama lived, as well as the legendary Judge's Pen and the Book of Life and Death. I wonder if I would have a chance to see it. At Living Hell King. Isn't the Judge's Pen the Judge's Pen? Is it because I am ignorant? The Judge's Pen is an ancient weapon, but there should be such a thing in the underworld too. Pleiades Star Officer thought that yes, she saved it and left. After all, 99 steps had been taken. How could it not take the last step? But it didn't expect that this impossible thing would happen after all. So he stared at the background of Yeshiwan with his eyes wide open, and he couldn't believe that he was abandoned here like this. It is the Pleiades Star Official. It is the Pleiades Star Official. It is the Pleiades Star Official. How could anyone see Pleiades Star Official being so indifferent and not even saying much to the dead Taoist priest? This is not logical. The Pleiades chicken was in despair, and flapped its wings to fly away, but found that the long period of confinement had exhausted its strength, and now it had no strength to catch up, so in anger and heart, it bit the middle-aged Taoist priest hard and was knocked unconscious by the stink. Although Yeshi was indifferent to the Pleiades Star Official's attitude, others did not think so. They were very concerned about one of the 12 zodiac animals, especially this one who was the official of the heaven. Therefore, many people saw the scene and couldn't help laughing. What kind of chicken? It smells so bad, it smells so bad, it smells so bad. The large-scale Pleiades chicken eats its own evil consequences, so it stuns and rolls its eyes and then faints. Picture JPG, take a look first, and get first-hand Tianguan information. Although Yeshi sensed what was happening behind him, he didn't take it seriously. Although there were many mistakes along the way, he still wanted to see the Lord of Hell. As for the two unlucky guys behind him who were almost the same, Yeshi said he was not familiar with them. Brother Ye really walked forward resolutely and remained unmoved no matter what happened next. This is how we should practice. This is what a man should do. A real man is born in heaven and earth. How can he be depressed and live under others for a long time? Father, please accept my greeting. He can replace you. When Yeshi walked to the residence of the King of Hell, the wind blew away the paper money and fallen leaves, leaving only the sea water on the ground. There was nothing left, not even a ghost. Actually, no ghost. You should be working at this time. You are so idle. Yeshi looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. So, when Brother Bai said he would run away, he really did. I took screenshots of the comments of Bai Vuchang and the living King of Hell at that time. Hurry up and take these two pictures. JPG. Of the 36 strategies, running away is the best strategy. The ghosts have gone to the underworld, and only the King of Hell's mansion is left here. What a great writer. After walking around the King of Hell's house for a few times, I found that there was nothing left except a house. It was so empty that Yeshi couldn't believe it. Even the rats and cockroaches had to say something good. What a pity it seems that I won't see the King of Hell and the black and white impermanence this time. And there is also the Book of Life and Death that is famous in the 3 realms. Tisk, even Joe Baop is not so cruel. Is it necessary to do this? Yeshi shook his head and sighed. The world is not as good as it used to be, and the hearts of ghosts are getting worse and worse. I understand. No wonder Bai Vuchang slacks off every day and invites others to play mahjong every day. It turns out that the upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 326. Yeshi left Fengdu. After walking out of Fengdu, he remembered that he had forgotten to check his big house with 3 entrances and 3 exits. But there is nothing I can do but come back next time. He stood at the gate of Fengdu City, looking at the endless flow of Xuanhuan water, the black-yellow Nehi Bridge, and the lonely souls crossing the Nehi Bridge. And those distant evil spirits who seemed to be running wildly for reincarnation. Oh, I didn't expect to be able to see the legendary scene of What's the Rush? I'm in a hurry to be reincarnated. It really taught me a lot. Please let me address you respectfully, don't you know why these ghosts want to be reincarnated? Brother Ye may think that these ghosts don't find it interesting to be ghosts, so they want to come to the human world as soon as possible. I should be right, so you understand what I mean. Bai Chang, anyway, it can be because of anything, but it must be impossible. Brother Ye called for a big flood and submerged the underworld. How could it be because of this incident? Living king of hell, that can't be because Brother Ye struck the divine light and frightened the big-headed dolls and evil spirits to the point of losing their courage, and then ran away to reincarnate. 1,000 miles away, why are you so angry? Do you understand the content of the Pleiades star officials being thrown away, and you still expect Brother Ye to think about these wild ghosts? Yes, she looked at the live broadcast room. I thought he couldn't tell that these people were so sinister, right? So he silenced all members of the system for 10 minutes to see if these people still dared to act weird. The entire underworld space has always been filled with sea water, but this sea water does not blend with the underworld at all. It's just that the originally very calm Xuanhuan has become a little turbulent, and some of the Xuanhuan water will even splash on the Nehi Bridge. Yes, she chose an intact Nehi Bridge, and then stood on the bridge. Despite the impact of the underworld water, his expression was still very calm. He was observing the power of the bridge to float above the underworld. With his current ability, he is unable to do this for the time being, and can only cross the river through paper boats. Although he knew that Diding made the bridge out of yellow clay and it looked eclectic, yet she always felt that there was a big mystery in it. He stood on the Nehi Bridge and looked at Xuanhuan. For some reason, he thought of the legend of Nuwa patching up the sky. But he had already answered the question of Nuwa patching up the sky in Atlantis, so it should not be the stones left by patching up the sky. So, could it be the yellow mud left over when Nuwa created humans? Yes, she thought this way in his heart, but couldn't get an answer. While thinking about it, yes, she had already crossed the Nehi Bridge. However, as soon as he crossed over, the whole world turned upside down in an instant. Yes, she couldn't help but look back, only to see nothingness, and when he looked in front of him, he still saw nothingness. At this moment, there is no sense of space in all directions, as if a person is in eternal silence, and it will continue like this forever. Unspeakable loneliness filled Yeshi's heart. It's just that this kind of loneliness is not autonomous, but passively imposed. In addition to loneliness, there is also the fear that goes deep into the heart. A soul spends eternity in the boundless nothingness. What a terrible thing. Even so, Yeshi's mind was a little confused, let alone other lives. Panorama's live broadcast gave the audience a very satisfying sense of participation, but at this moment, these viewers wanted to reject this sense of participation. Some people quickly closed the live broadcast room directly. Others picked up the hammer next to them and hammered their brains hard to knock themselves out. Most of them closed their eyes immediately, fearing that they will be completely destroyed in one more second. But more people didn't react at all, and there was no time for them to react, so they were enveloped in loneliness and emptiness and the fear that followed them. When you clearly know that you are in a void space, and realize that nothing exists in this void except yourself, and it will be like this for a long time to come. No one would think this is a pleasant thing. A long time passed. But yes, she knew that it was actually only a moment. It should be that after crossing the Nehi Bridge, the rules of the world here are different, so there is an illusion of a long time. It's an illusion to him, but not to others. When they wake up from the long and countless nothingness and look at the earth platform in front of them, many people can't control their mental weakness and cry, feeling as if they are in another world. They even think that they are hallucinating now and desperately looking for safety. Feel it? The internet and offline were unprecedentedly lively. These people wanted to post comments in Yeshi's live broadcast room, but found that only half a minute had passed, and there was still 5.5 minutes of muting time. They finally broke down. Yeshi never imagined that it would be like this after crossing the Nahi Bridge. After feeling the excitement and dark emotions in the live broadcast room, he coughed twice, and then asked the system to unblock all members. Ah, something seemed to have happened just now. It should be to make the lives in the living world forget the past, so I let you feel the long emptiness. But these are all illusions. Everyone is watching the live broadcast, but don't get immersed in it. Ah, the one in front seems to be the legendary Wangxiang Terrace. I heard that there is Mengpo next to Wangxiang Terrace. I don't know if it is true. Let's go and have a look. Your excuse to change the subject is so poor, tiger crying. Why are we always the ones getting hurt? Ah. How can a person live without being crazy? Just hold on. Is there any person alive who is not crazy? Just hold on. Is there any person alive who is not crazy? Just hold on. When the humans of Blue Star go crazy, no leaf god is innocent. I'm going crazy. Why are we the ones who get hurt every time? What have we done wrong? Yeshi looked at the chaotic live broadcast room and felt sorry for the true feelings revealed. You are too immersed, it's just a live broadcast, the live broadcast room has blocked most of the influence. Is it possible that you are thinking too much, that's why you are like this? This is just an illusion, a live broadcast. Look at me standing here and doing nothing. You, standing in the underworld, have just passed Xuanhuan and Nahi Bridge, planning to see the place of reincarnation, and then tell us that this is just a live broadcast, only, live streaming? Is it possible that you are not a human being? Yeshi shrugged his shoulders. I said it seriously. After the Nahi Bridge, it seems that the universe has been void for a long time. It is just an illusion. The live broadcast room has blocked a large degree of influence. You have just left now, so you are stressed. Well, this is equivalent to the feeling of playing 99% of the panoramic simulation game and then being thrown into the 30,000-meter deep sea bed. It will be fine if you go out to see the sun and get out of the game cabin. Don't you guys also play a lot of horror games? That's pretty much it? Yeshi could feel that there was no big problem with them, they were just scared. Thank you for the invitation. I am in the underworld. I have just crossed the Nahi Bridge and am now rushing to be reincarnated. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 327. Yeshi looked at the earthen platform not far ahead. On the earthen platform, there were thick and ancient fonts, Wangxiangtai. These three characters have an aura from the distant past that has passed by without knowing the time. The shape of the characters is different, and there is even no appearance of characters at all. However, everyone can see this earthen platform. Know what this place is and what it does. The live broadcast room was still buzzing with all kinds of painful accusations. But as time goes by, these people seem to have reacted. Although the reaction to watching the live broadcast was huge just now, they seem to be much calmer now. There are fewer and fewer people wailing in the 10 worlds, and those who are foaming at the mouth suddenly wake up. Standing with trembling legs under the sun, the shadow in the person's mind slowly stood up, and he noticed that the terrifying feeling was slowly disappearing. Some people avoid the terrifying experience of nothingness in the universe because of their cleverness. At this time, looking at these comments in the live broadcast room, a kind of curiosity arose, wanting to know what they had just experienced. What? The only way to overcome fear is to face it. A fisherman stood in front of the live broadcast room, talking to himself like this, and after finding a good excuse for himself, he pulled back the progress bar and reproduced the scene just now. Ah! After Yeshi said those words, he stopped talking. No, I don't believe it, I definitely don't believe that all this is exactly what Brother Ye said. Although I am not as scared now as before, I have to admit that it has left a psychological shadow in my heart. You know, I will never forgive you for not having a souvenir from the underworld. Souvenirs from the underworld? Want a ghost? If you want your ancestors, get out of here. Can you be polite? You want souvenirs? Others just raised a possibility. You also get out. The various messy barrages in the live broadcast room are dizzying to watch. Among the wailing of many unknown creatures are also mixed with this kind of ridiculous quarrel. Yeshi was stunned as he watched, feeling that the barrage of these troll netizens was even more shocking than what had just happened. It seems, stop pretending, right, everyone is no longer a human being, right. The only way to relieve worries is to go crazy. By the way, what would Brother Ye see if he stood on the Wangxiang Terrace? Not Baidulizhija, Blue Star's hometown? Yeshi was actually curious about what he would see if he stood on the gazebo, whether he would see the Blue Star in this life or the Blue Star in the previous life. He always felt that if he went up to Wangxiang Terrace, the hometown he would see would be a place that many people could not imagine and he could not imagine. Yeshi's curiosity arose. It seems that Wangxiang Terrace is very close. If they are ghosts who have experienced a long period of emptiness, they may wish to grow wings and fly over. However, this place is actually very far away. But the fact is that if you run over to it, the Wangxiang Tower can sense the deepest wishes of your soul. On the contrary, it will not only not respond to your wishes, but will also step on it. Yeshi already understood this deeply. The further he walked forward, the farther and farther away the Wangxiang Tower became from him. Yeshi looked ahead like an idiot. What kind of immoral place is this? If I walk forward, it will also run forward, right? Ha 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 ha! I made the first burst of laughter today. Yeshi frowned and looked at the Wangxiang Terrace in front of him, with a look of disgust on his face. It should be the reason for the rules here. The more you want to climb to Wangxiang Terrace as soon as possible, the further away Wangxiang Terrace will be from you. This is too immoral. First, it allows people to spend a long time of nothingness and emptiness, giving people infinite sinking. Then when the time passes, they see the Wangxiang Tower in front of them, desperately chasing this light, only to find that the longer they chase, the farther away. I feel chilled listening to it. Yeshi continued to talk. The Wangxiang Tower that can never be chased, there is a void behind it. When they finally feel despair and feel that ghost life is only gloomy, and this is what they will look like after death, the Wangxiang Tower will appear in front of them. Who made this evil setup? Yeshi did not continue walking forward. After saying these words, he slowed down his eager pace. Then Wangxiangtai, which was getting further and further away, suddenly appeared in front of him, ignoring time and space. You are really so mean. When I love you, you ignore me, but when I don't love you, you just come running over, right? Wangxiangtai. I didn't expect you to be in such a place. Qinli Burahi, I suddenly don't want to die anymore. I thought it would be nice to be reincarnated and have a next life, but what's going on now? I have to suffer so much torture if I reincarnate, right? But, we know it now. Once we know it, we should be fine. You know it hurts after you break your arm, but do you think it will be fine after you break it? Yeshi is now only 3 or 4 steps away from Wangxiang Terrace. Wangxiangtai is a place where ghosts who have entered hell can view the situation in the world of the sun. I am very curious now, if I walk up there, what will my hometown be like? You don't even know where your hometown is. I remembered my previous speculation that Brother Ye is not a human. Now it seems that my speculation is true. Brother Ye is from XXXXXX, XXX city, XX province, Longwo, I am more familiar with brother Yes' hometown than he is. After Yeshi said this to the camera, he raised his foot and walked up to the lookout terrace. The moment he walked up, the scene around the lookout terrace changed. It seemed to be the scene of the beginning of the universe, with the infinitely distant pillars of creation, and then a galaxy appeared next to the world. Time has no meaning here. Tomcat, little sea god is really not a human. Look what I found, this is brother Yes' hometown, screaming hoarsely. If he claims to be just an ordinary explorer and human being again, I will directly slap the screenshot of this place in his face. Living king of hell, don't worry, there is a 3 lives stone in front, which can reflect the 3 lives of the previous life. We can rub our hands and wait for Yeshen to reveal his true form later. Why are you in such a hurry? This is just the scene of the beginning of the universe, and we haven't reached my hometown yet. Yeshi saw these comments in the live broadcast room, especially the living king of hell who added fuel to the fire. His face turned black. Don't slander me. If you slander me, I will give you some of your favorite local specialties from the underworld, ghosts. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yu Pian Hai. Chapter 328. Yeshi definitely didn't feel like he was threatening these troll netizens. I could only see that changes were still taking place around Wangxiang Terrace. It seemed that Yeshi's hometown was still slowly evolving, and what was just shown was not everything. From the beginning of the universe to the pillars of creation, to the appearance of the Milky Way in front of everyone. Then there are countless suns, these suns are further drawn closer, and a galaxy just appears. This is an aqua blue planet. But the appearance of this planet seems to be different from the blue star in Blue Star's memory. That's not right. How do I remember that my home planet is not like this? Yang Xuanhuan, lost in thought. Ronyun is me, could it be that this is actually my home planet? After Yeshi saw this aqua blue planet, he also fell into deep thought. Isn't this the planet from my previous life? Under a sudden change, another planet overlapped on this aqua blue planet. It's bad, my identity as a time traveler has been exposed like this. Yeshi looked at the 2 overlapping aqua planets in front of him and murmured to himself. He glanced at the 2 planets, and then at the barrage in the live broadcast room, and found that no one thought that the picture in front of him was a little too outrageous, but no one thought of anything else. Golden Mouse, are these 2 planets? Our blue star is actually formed by 2 planets overlapping together? Why is Yesang's hometown so weird? Is it from our country? Get out of here upstairs, Jun. Yes' hometown is obviously our great cold country. 2 aqua blue planets overlapped. Then expanded further. What is this? Yeshi also looked at the stuff in front of him. What is this all about? What a lookout tower is of no use at all. There was a void, blank, nothing in front of me. Tomcat, I can't see the little Poseidon's hometown. Wow, I can't even see the little Poseidon's hometown. What are you so angry about? You want to be banned, right? Yeshi was a little speechless. Fortunately, he had been looking forward to it for so long, but the result was this, just this. He turned around and left the platform, continuing to walk forward. But when he was about to leave, he looked back and said, I heard that there is Po Men next to Wangxiang Terrace. But it seems to be just a rumor. Is there Po Men in the underworld? Living king of hell. Bai Vuchain, I dare not speak. Apong, yes. Hey, yes. Yeshi walked around the platform, but still didn't see anything. Giving birth. Mother Men is alive. After thinking about it for a moment, he didn't understand it, and Yeshi didn't find anything here, so he shook his head and said, it's a pity. Why is the upper beam not straight and the lower beam crooked? The Prince of Hell in the underworld took the lead in running away without working, and he also ran away with all the staff in the underworld. I came to the underworld, but I didn't see the black and white impermanence, the bull's head and the horse's face, and I didn't see the living king of hell. I didn't see any of the special attractions in the underworld. Living king of hell. It's a bit of a pity that we didn't see it either. After Yeshi left the Wangxiang terrace, a ghost that was trapped under the Wangxiang terrace floated out gently. This is Po Meng. And Po Meng looked at the top of the overlooking platform. It changed from nothingness to a specific place, but Po Meng didn't dare to look at it again. Yeshi walked for a long time, long enough to see the ghosts who were preparing to be reincarnated. This is the 6 paths of reincarnation. One by one, ghosts walked towards the dim circle of darkness. This scene looks very shocking. Yeshi tried it and found that he could walk forward. True, 1 step forward is reincarnation. 18 years later, he is a good man again. Standing in front of 6 paths of reincarnation, Yeshi looked from afar. He is relatively calm, but other ghosts are not so calm, especially those who saw Yeshi's power of flooding Fengdu and slashing the death realm with 1 sword. One by one, they are scrambling to watch the 6 paths of reincarnation rushing through. Among them, the big-headed doll also noticed Yeshi's aura. He was still hesitating at first, but now he immediately reached out and grabbed all the ghosts crowded in front, and then dived into the human world. But the funnier thing is, the big-headed doll got stuck at the entrance to reincarnation because its head was too big. Yeshi. Am I in the underworld? Why is it so funny all the way along? The big-headed doll tried very hard to squeeze in, but this place was not designed for it to be reincarnated. Therefore, although it squeezed in due to excessive force, most of the head was still outside. The underworld studio suddenly turned into a comedy studio. Brother, yeah, do you want to help this fat baby? It looks so pitiful. Yeshi thought so too. So he walked up, and then the big-headed doll became anxious, squirmed crazily, and entered the human world with a whoosh. Do I look so scary? It looks the scariest on its own. Can it recognize it more clearly? Yeshi saw that this deformed big-headed doll was so afraid of him that he ran away in fear and couldn't help but complain to the camera. Speaking of how Brother Ye came back, did he plan to reincarnate from the human world in front of him and then come back or return the same way? Alegio, if he returns the same way, there may be no way. I don't know why the ghost gate disappeared. This has nothing to do with us. I don't know what happened. This means Brother Ye is dead. Yeshi shrugged his shoulders when he saw that the ghosts were scared because of his appearance, and did not move forward. That's it? Although I didn't see many special wonders in the underworld this time, especially those special characters in the underworld, I still had a lot of fun. At least I walked from the ghost gate to the 6 paths of reincarnation, and completed a whole set of procedures. But I remembered that there should be hell besides the underworld. Why didn't I see anything? It feels like an incomplete version of the underworld. I have a bold guess. For your bold guess, Kraken has a complete set of rules at Gateway Kraken. Living king of hell, the heaven was blown up into fireworks. How could the underworld be well preserved? Many places in the underworld were also turned into fireworks, and I don't know where they were blown to. Brothers, I still don't understand why Brother Yes' hometown is like that. What do the 2 overlapping blue stars mean and what do they represent? Nameless, hee. What a pity. Ting should be in the underworld, and I heard that there is a monkey on the 18th floor. I'm afraid I won't see any of them this time. I don't know if that monkey is the same as I guessed. Let's talk about it next time I come. Now I plan to leave the underworld. Yeshi looked around, then said to the camera. There should be more than one ghost gate, let me look for it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 329. Chapter 329 Ding. I only updated one chapter today, but this chapter has 4,000 words, which is equivalent to 2 in 1. I wish my dear readers and friends all the best in 2023, all your wishes will come true, and you will be happy every day. I love you, okay. The update of new books has not been very good in the past 2 days. It will be back to normal on the 1st. The same is true for this book. The update time will be fixed. Then today I went out for a walk during the New Year's Eve. I don't know if I have a cold or a sun, but my head hurts. Everyone, please pay attention to protection. By the time Yeshi found the gate of hell, the live broadcast room was already in an uproar. Especially the living king of hell, who vowed that Yeshi would not be able to find the ghost gate leaving the underworld. At this time, he was slapped in the face. This time I came to the underworld. Yeshi learned a lot of information that he didn't know before, and his understanding of the entire world became deeper, especially some news about heaven. For example, the system has just awarded the addresses of 2 heavenly ruins. However, Yeshi didn't have time to check these 2 addresses yet. He just walked out of the ghost gate and returned to the human world. This is still Blue Star. Yeshi walked out to check his position and breathed a sigh of relief when he found that he had not gone to the ghost gate of another planet. But Blue Star is really changing with each passing day. Yeshi blinked his eyes, and there seemed to be light flickering in his eyes. Just from the time he entered the ghost gate to the time he left now, the whole Blue Star gave him a completely different feeling. This can be determined with just a casual glance. When he traveled to this planet, he discovered that except for the different timelines, most of this planet was the same as the planet in his previous life. It was a very normal planet, not a fantasy planet in novels. But things are different now. If he were to travel through time now, Yeshi, who was just an ordinary person, would still be able to see that the multidimensionality of this world has been revealed. It's like blue stars from different dimensions are superimposed. Blue star people with slightly normal eyes can see other dimensions. Overlapping spaces are superimposed together. If you look at the entire blue star from the outside, you will have an extremely illusory feeling. You will also find that the edges gradually fade or even disappear. Or it's like there are countless pieces pulled apart from one place, like stacking boxes. It may be difficult to explain in words, but people on Blue Star can see it as long as they look up and look around. For example, in front of Yeshi, a beautiful palace appeared not far from him, and there were people walking around in it. In the previous life, this blue star should have been a mirage that could never be touched, but when you get here, you step forward and you can touch these palaces, and if your spiritual awareness is high enough, you can even walk into them. There is also a skyscraper on the riverside in front. It looks like a skyscraper standing there. If you observe it with a telescope or drone, you will find that there are 3 or 4 groups of completely different people on the same floor. These people have almost no contact with each other and can only be observed through observation. What is revealed is the phenomenon of different dimensions overlapping on the same planet. No matter how you look at it, you feel that Blue Star is not simple, and the entire solar system is not simple either. Heaven, underworld, human world, abyss, good guys, all gathered together. Is the civilization of the ancient Blue Star really just an ordinary civilization that cultivates immortals? What secrets are hidden in Blue Star? Thinking of this, Yeshi couldn't help but open the exploration map, and then expanded the Blue Star planet. Visible to the naked eye, there are many places on this planet that are not lit up. In other words, except for a few places, most places can clearly see what is there, but they are all dark. This is not like other planets that are dark without exploration, but dark, as if there are bottomless secrets that have not yet been revealed. System, have I not completed much of Blue Star's exploration? Ding. The exploration of Blue Star is divided into regional exploration and cannot explore the entire planet. I'm asking you, forget it, Then let me ask you, how much have I explored the blue star as a whole now? Ding, 5%. The system told Yeshi a number that he had not expected. Although before this, Yeshi did suspect that blue star was very unusual. But he has probably done a lot of exploration on blue star so far, and even said that most of it was on blue star. In the end, it didn't even reach 10%, it was only 5%. This ratio shocked him. He suddenly didn't want to go to an alien planet to explore. After all, his home planet had not yet been fully explored. 5%. This is only 5%. How many secrets does Blue Star hide? When I was in the underworld, the rewards from the system were very few, and there was no progress bar for exploration. There were only reminders of key landmarks and unique creatures discovered. Does this mean that my exploration of the underworld has not even begun? When Yeshi thought of this, he suddenly felt that he had realized the truth. So he reached out and turned off the live broadcast that asked him why he kept standing there motionless and what he was thinking. No. The water in this universe is too deep. My strength is still not enough. Sure enough, I still have to continue to practice hard, and I can't let it go on like this. Yeshi silently made a vow in his heart. Then he crossed the mountains and seas in one step and came to a magnificent world that did not exist. The Kunlun sacred tree, which connects the sky and the earth, is still the most conspicuous existence in the entire world. The roots of the Kunlun sacred tree are even rooted in the boundless sea and even within Gigzu. The three-legged golden crow in the sun is still gestating. This sun is fused with some biological composite minerals. Therefore, the sun, which was originally a purely non-intelligent life form, has become what it is now. A long hangs on the book of the Kunlun sacred tree in the sky, and another one hovers above the base of the tree. The big chrysanthemum tree and the 7-day cicada look good, but their growth rate is too slow. The two grudge plants, the bronze divine vine and the immortal peach tree, are still fighting each other. The volcano on the other side of Fallen Star Flame and the flame mountain of Six-Ding Divine Fire were already close to each other. From time to time, the sound of blacksmithing could be heard, but nothing was produced. The most lively thing is the overseas island, which is like a fairy tale town. A shrunken big cat sneaks in carefully and quietly, and then sticks to the house to eat butter. As for others, for example, Xiao Shitu and Kraken are still wandering in the ocean, and are bullied by a Kun, Peng, from time to time. The intelligent robot is like a hard-working old farmer, taking care of the yard next to the Kunlun sacred tree in the center of the world. There are also many interesting cultural relics placed in the yard, such as spaceships, dinosaur statues, antimatter reactors. Yeshi was lying soundly asleep under the Kunlun sacred tree, with dense fluorescent light shining on his body, and a bright reflective tail hanging on his face. As he breathed and swallowed, countless energy entered his body. And the fairy energy in the world became thicker and thicker, and even the clouds that turned into birds in the sky were very happy. The fairy energy was sucked by them, and then turned into the appearance of Kunpeng in the sea. Kunpeng, who quietly poked his head out from the North Sea, was a little curious. He looked up at the sky with his body like a fish, and fell into thinking about the true meaning of life. Call. There was a sound of breathing that was not gentle. Yeshi woke up from his practice. He felt the power in his body, nodded with satisfaction, then slapped back the fallen white dragon tail, walked to the front of the Kunlun sacred tree, stretched out his hand to touch its body. Sure enough, it turns out that my biggest worry is the sacred tree. Cultivation under this sacred tree is simply getting twice the result with half the effort. Fortunately, this world is in my memory. Otherwise, if he digs out the energy of other dimensions and other worlds, sooner or later the creditors will come looking for him. However, I seem to have never seen how the Kunlun sacred tree absorbs energy from other world dimensions. Yeshi raised his head, flew outside the planet, and came outside. Outside was the floating road, the angel of peace, the sun, and the canopy of the Kunlun sacred tree that stretched out. He continued to fly upward along the tree crown. The higher he went, the heavier the sense of danger became. When he reached the back, he could hardly fly up and could only climb along the trunk. The upper part of the trunk and the branches that extend out are not as moist and crystal clear as the lower part, but as if they have experienced wind and frost. There are many scars on it. Some branches have been broken by unknown creatures, and some places have been damaged by lightning. Just like splitting. Looks really bad. Yeshi touched the Kunlun sacred tree, and suddenly felt guilty in his heart. Then when it continued to climb up, this guilt disappeared. The higher the dimension and world connected above, the higher the energy absorbed. Then Yeshi saw large energy pools in front of his eyes, hanging on the branches near the trunk. Yes. The Kunlun sacred tree intercepted all these high-level energy, and not a drop of it was passed on. Except for swallowing it, it was stored here. When he looked at the leaves, his vision went dark, and he felt that his worry about this tree just now was completely unnecessary. When he climbed further up, Yeshi felt a strong resistance, so he made a prompt decision and did not continue to climb up. Instead, he reached out and picked a few with the highest energy level from dozens of energy pools, and took them down. The wisdom of the Kunlun sacred tree, or the spiritual wisdom that cannot be considered as wisdom, let out a mournful cry. Yeshi placed the 7 energy pools in different corners of the world according to the formation directions in the Immortal Sutra. Then start organizing all your collections. In fact, there is nothing important that requires extra attention. Yeshi didn't get anything good when he was exploring the planet Silas. Anyway, compared with the things in that god's laboratory, they were as light as a feather. The most interesting thing inside is about the energy of Chinook energy. So Yeshi planned to build the sun again. He looked at the golden crow sleeping in the sun above. He didn't know why, but he felt a very unpleasant feeling when he looked at it. So Yeshi wanted to find a companion for him. Fortunately, there were still some biocomposite ores, so Yeshi followed the psychic instructions and the artificial sun template and started to make a psychic sun. However, this time the time spent pinching the sun was too long. In order not to affect the main business of exploring the live broadcast outside, Yeshi silently adjusted the time flow rate inside and outside a little bit. He couldn't do a large-scale time ratio now, so he just adjusted it for 1 day and 1 month. So, 3 days passed. Yeshi's spiritual energy sun was ready. There was one more energy in the whole world, and this energy was radiated continuously through the spiritual energy sun. But this spiritual energy obviously couldn't be compared with the fairy energy, and it was suppressed to the point of being completely suppressed. After Yeshi finished all this, he changed the time flow rate back to the previous 1:1. And then he lay on the edge of the ocean like a salted fish, and a fishing rod without bait was thrown into the sea, and a kun was caught. Little kun looked at Yeshi with round eyes, and then imitated his movements and lay on the beach like a salted fish. 1 kun and 1 fish just lay there in the sun, 2 suns. White Tiger sneaked to eat and was discovered by those furniture spirits, and was now thinking about the past in anger. It seems that I have forgotten something. Yeshi looked at the night approaching, and when there were only projected stars and moon in the night sky outside. His mind moved slightly. His body appeared directly in the Dragon Kingdom of Blue Star. Tongzi, what day is today? Ding, next year is the new year. Congratulations to the host for successfully exploring the secret realm of the 10,000 worlds, non-mother planet map, and obtaining a longevity fruit. The longevity fruit can be taken to live a long life, but it does not bring powerful strength, but only immortality. Oh, it turns out that today is the last day of the year. No wonder there are fireworks everywhere in Lanhai. But it's the new year, can you reward something useful, and don't you pick up trash every day? I've become an immortal, and you just sent me the fruit of immortality. Do you think immortals can't live forever? How can there be such a useless system in the world as yours? Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining 4 giant panda spirit beasts. Although it looks exactly like the giant panda on Blue Star, it is actually a war weapon. In the distant Yan Emperor era, Qi Yu rode it to conquer the world. One after another, brilliant fireworks exploded in the sky. Although it was at night, the beautiful fireworks illuminated the night as if it were daytime. Yeshi's pupils reflected the lights of thousands of homes, and those who looked up at the grand fireworks. The new year is coming. Anything else? Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining a unicorn cub, a map. Get lost. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white-bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 330. The east wind blooms flowers on thousands of trees at night, and blows down stars like rain. Yeshi was standing on the coast looking at the bright fireworks in the sky. But there seems to be something wrong with these bright fireworks, etc. This is not fireworks. Wrong. Whose starship exploded? Yeshi was admiring the fireworks when he realized something was wrong. Because these exploding fireworks, some are inside Blue Star, and some are outside Blue Star. Just because the sky is so bright now, many people can't tell whether the lights on it are fireworks or star destroyer cannons. Nice guy. Yeshi was arguing with the system and really wanted to complain about the unicorn cub it sent, a map. What the hell is this? You can be a little poorer. He was also wondering if he could knock something out of the system. But now, all attention is drawn to the white light in the sky. A place approximately only a few light years away from the solar system. This place has been occupied by beam weapons. In addition to the Blue Star Alliance spacecraft that sailed out of the solar system from the moon base, there are also alien starships. Whether it is the utilization and development of science and technology. The Blue Star Alliance has only conducted research on interstellar technology for a few short years. The time is too short and it has not experienced time acceleration. Even if it calls God, it cannot catch up with the technological progress of hundreds of thousands of years of others. So, in a competition with technology, it can be said that the Blue Star Alliance will definitely lose. It's a pity. Although from a legal point of view, Blue Star civilization is a pure technological civilization, its core has long since changed. So after the spacecraft was blown up by the beam ray, the Alliance soldiers driving the spacecraft did not die too much. Instead, they escaped into space and survived after the spacecraft was blown up. This is actually not very reasonable, but I have no choice but to become an immortal. And after that, these survivors have also started to use methods to survive in the oxygen-free universe. Some activate biological exoskeletons, some use swords to fly, and still others survive purely by the power of the physical body. Although these individual lives have lost the spaceship, they are enough to survive in the universe for a considerable period of time. This point must be said to be the benefit of all people cultivating immortality as the world ascends. Although the life strength of a single target is already very high, it is still incomparable to weapons that move and explode stars. Therefore, they can only temporarily ensure their survival in the universe, and don't think about the enemy's attacks. But they are not very worried about this. Because many truly large-scale space-based weapons have been built in the past few years. At the moment when the Blue Star Alliance Army's advanced spacecraft was bombed, the moon base and Blue Star had already received the news. The space-based weapon that has been experimented with but never had a chance to be used is finally ready. Yeshi did not appear during this period, which made them relieved, and they were eager to show off the power of Blue Star civilization. Then I sent a Dongfeng Express over there. Next, the alien starship exploded, allowing Yeshi to see a beautiful fireworks. On this lively day, the number of people outside was not as small as expected, but very, very large. Therefore, many people who came out for the New Year's Eve saw a person looking at the sky strangely with a telescope, and occasionally sighing inexplicably. Sentence. Which alien company is this? Why is it so miserable? It blew up without even entering the solar system. Yes, she knew that news about outer space must have been notified to Blue Star, but this kind of news is usually blocked and not announced to the outside world. But what does this have to do with him? He just watched the sky at night and caught something wrong. He used an astronomical telescope to see the fireworks exploding from the starship. In order to share his pity, he uploaded several pictures of the starship exploding to his account and just add text. Yes, she hasn't appeared for a while. But everyone is used to it. But there are still a large number of people who open his account interface and look at it hundreds of times every day. This is a subconscious habit. This habit always allows them to catch Yeshi's live broadcast immediately. It's the same now. What starship? Brother Yet is planning to return to the world. You might as well zoom in and take a few glances. The east wind blooms thousands of trees on a night of east wind, bad smile. I've had enough of this second to nothing understanding. I was so happy. I also said that when I was on the seaside, I saw such a big white light exploding in the sky. I bet it was an alien starship that was bombed. So, it's the east wind. Dongfeng, when did it go to the sky, and I didn't know it? Except for the people from the Dragon Kingdom, people from other countries know little about these messages. In fact, people from the Dragon Kingdom were confused when they looked at Yeshi's picture and the captions on it. Yeshi just has a little bit of desire to share. Not interested in explaining this kind of thing in detail. So after stretching, he was going to go back and take a nap, and then look at the map of the unicorn cub given by the system. As for those giant pandas, Yeshi threw it in his yard and raised it, and then used it as a mascot. A dreamless night. When Yeshi woke up again, the Blue Star people knew about it, and they repelled the alien starships that came to colonize, causing an uproar on the internet. But Yeshi didn't pay much attention to it after browsing the internet for a few times. At most, they are surprised at Blue Star's current civilization process. But that's not important. This unicorn cub, it's actually on our home planet. Still in a very famous place. But I'm not interested in tomb robbing. No, how can you say that you are robbing tombs? It is obviously to explore the secrets and make a great contribution to the cause of archaeology. Yeshi touched his chin. So, now there's just one question. If I go to Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum, will there really be 100,000 terracotta warriors coming out to attack me? Yeshi had to think about this issue at this time. Because obviously, most of the legends about Blue Star, especially Dragon Kingdom, are true. At least, in the Tang dynasty, it was true that Wei Zheng killed the Dragon King of Jinghe in his dream. The first emperor. Yeshi felt that he could confirm one thing without a doubt. His tomb may be the same as the one recorded in the legend. Sun, moon, stars, rivers, lakes, and seas. There will be all of these. Compared with these, the resurrected 100,000 terracotta warriors and horses are not. It's not surprising. Yeshi opened his mobile phone and typed this line of text. Take some time to clean up, plan to watch King Qin sweep Liu He. At the same time, he accompanied it with a picture of authentic terracotta warriors and horses. Look what I saw.